Why does poverty persist in many African nations despite vast natural resources and a growing young population? Today, we explore deep insights from a compelling MIT study to find answers. Welcome to our channel, where we decode complex global issues with clear, insightful analysis. In this video, we're delving into an MIT study that explores the multifaceted reasons behind economic struggles in Africa. We'll break down the study's key findings and discuss what it means for the future of the continent. As we explore the roots of economic challenges in Africa, we must first navigate through the dense underbrush of historical legacies. These legacies have not just shaped the continent's past, but continue to cast long shadows over its present and future economic landscape. Consider the colonial era, when European powers carved up the African continent without regard to ethnic, cultural, or economic boundaries. This division was primarily aimed at exploiting natural resources rather than fostering sustainable local economies. During colonial rule, the primary focus was on extracting valuable resources, such as minerals and cash crops, which were then exported to feed the industrialization of Europe. This extraction was supported by infrastructure, like railways and ports, that was designed solely to serve this purpose, often at the expense of connecting intra-regional markets within Africa itself. After gaining independence, many African nations found themselves with economies that were unbalanced and overly dependent on a handful of export commodities. The arbitrary borders drawn by colonizers left many countries internally fragmented, leading to ethnic tensions and conflicts which further complicated governance and economic recovery. Moreover, the legacies of colonial economic policies meant that African nations continued to struggle with building economies that could meet the diverse needs of their populations rather than just the demands of international markets. These historical legacies form a complex backdrop to today's economic challenges in Africa. Understanding this history is crucial not only for framing current problems, but also for crafting more effective and equitable economic policies going forward. Geographical and environmental barriers. Turning our gaze to the natural environment, it becomes clear that geography plays a pivotal role in shaping economic destinies. In Africa, the landscape itself presents both profound challenges and unique opportunities for development. Consider the vast Sahara Desert, which stretches across the northern expanse of the continent, acting as a physical barrier that historically limited trade and interaction between sub-Saharan Africa and the Mediterranean and European markets. Beyond the deserts, many African regions grapple with arid or semi-arid climates that make agriculture challenging. The dependence on rain-fed agriculture in these areas leads to vulnerability to climate variability, impacting food security and economic stability. While mighty rivers like the Nile, Congo, and Zambezi traverse the continent, offering avenues for trade and agriculture, their potential is often underutilized due to lack of infrastructure or ongoing conflicts. Additionally, coastal countries might benefit from access to maritime trade, yet many inland countries are landlocked, increasing their transportation costs and limiting export options. Environmental issues also play a significant role. Africa is richly endowed with biodiversity, but issues such as deforestation, soil degradation, and the more frequent and severe impacts of climate change threaten sustainable development. These environmental hurdles require innovative solutions that balance economic growth with ecological conservation. Thus, Africa's geographical and environmental realities pose unique challenges to its economic growth. Addressing these requires tailored strategies that respect the continent's diverse ecosystems while harnessing geographical assets for sustainable development. Another critical dimension shaping Africa's economic landscape is the realm of political instability and governance. The stability of a nation's governance structures profoundly influences its economic health and developmental trajectory. Throughout the continent, many countries have experienced turbulent political histories. Post-colonial Africa saw a wave of independence movements, which, while ending direct foreign rule, often ushered in periods of political upheaval, military coups, and authoritarian regimes. In some cases, these unstable conditions have persisted into the present day, manifesting as conflicts, governance disruptions, and corruption that severely undermine economic stability. For instance, frequent changes in leadership can lead to inconsistent economic policies, discouraging long-term investment and disrupting economic planning. Corruption remains a pervasive issue, siphoning resources away from public services and infrastructure that are crucial for economic development. The diversion of funds reduces the quality of public health, education, and transport services, stunting socio-economic development. However, there are signs of positive change. Some nations are making significant strides in enhancing political stability and governance through democratic reforms, anti-corruption measures, and by strengthening judicial systems. These improvements in governance create a more favorable environment for both domestic and foreign investments. Addressing political instability and improving governance are imperative for fostering a secure economic environment in Africa. Strengthened institutions not only attract investment, but also ensure that economic gains are equitably shared among the population, paving the way for sustained economic growth and development. A pivotal aspect in transforming Africa's economic landscape is economic diversification. Many African economies have historically relied heavily on a single sector, such as agriculture or mineral extraction, which exposes them to significant vulnerabilities. Consider countries that depend primarily on commodities like oil, diamonds, or gold. Fluctuations in global prices can have drastic impacts on these economies, often leading to volatile economic conditions that are detrimental to long-term growth and stability. However, diversification into manufacturing, services, and technology offers a pathway to more stable and sustainable economic growth. For example, countries like Kenya and Rwanda have made substantial strides in the tech sector, branding themselves as innovation hubs. Expanding into new sectors requires investment in education and infrastructure to support industries such as information technology, finance, and ecotourism. These industries not only provide more stable income sources, but also create jobs, enhance skills, and reduce poverty. Despite the clear benefits, diversification faces several challenges. Infrastructure deficits, limited access to capital, and inadequate educational systems can impede the development of new economic sectors. Moreover, transitioning from traditional sectors to new industries requires not just capital, but also changes in policies and business practices. Economic diversification is not merely an option, but a necessity for Africa's future. By broadening their economic bases, African nations can mitigate the risks associated with commodity dependence and create a more resilient and dynamic economy. This shift is crucial for reducing poverty, improving living standards, and achieving sustainable economic growth. As we explore the key factors for economic development in Africa, we cannot overlook the critical roles played by infrastructure and human capital. These foundational elements are essential for fostering sustainable growth and enabling African nations to harness their full potential. Infrastructure, roads, bridges, ports, electricity, and internet connectivity, is the backbone of any economy. In many parts of Africa, these are either underdeveloped or in disrepair, which severely limits economic activities. Efficient infrastructure facilitates trade, supports industries, and improves quality of life by providing access to essential services. Simultaneously, human capital is Africa's most valuable asset. Investing in education and training not only empowers individuals, but also fuels innovation and drives productivity. However, the quality of education and access to vocational training vary significantly across the continent. Consider the successes seen in countries that have invested in their educational systems and vocational training. They have managed to create a more skilled workforce that is better equipped to meet the demands of a modern economy. Such investments also help in reducing unemployment and underemployment, especially among the youth. Yet, developing infrastructure and human capital in tandem presents a unique set of challenges. It requires substantial investment, effective governance, and strategic planning to ensure that the growth in physical infrastructure aligns with the development of a skilled workforce. To unlock their economic potential, African nations must prioritize comprehensive strategies that co-develop infrastructure and human capital. This dual focus will pave the way for a more robust economic framework, capable of supporting diverse industries and attracting global investment. It's a formidable task, but with the right commitments, it can significantly transform the continent's economic landscape. These key points from the MIT study provide a comprehensive look at the systemic barriers that contribute to persistent poverty in Africa. Addressing these issues requires a combined effort from local governments, international partners, and the private sector. Understanding these challenges is the first step toward making a difference. We encourage you to engage with this topic critically. Read the full study, participate in discussions, and consider supporting policies and initiatives that foster sustainable development. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful analysis. Together, we can contribute to a brighter, more prosperous future for Africa.